recollections of working with Sir David, as he was chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Endometriosis and I was vice chair. We worked very closely together and I really enjoyed working with him, found him to be a funny, engaging, generous man, and he will be very, very missed. And as much as I'm pleased to be sharing the new role of chair with my honourable friend, the member of Livingston, I don't think any member of the committee will quite get over the loss of Sir David. And the last conversation we had, actually, was we caught each other near the lifts, if those know it, in 1 Parliament Street, and he said, Emma, let's find out who the new minister is, and we must get them to come to our APPG. This was during the reshuffle, and we must tell them about our report. Let's do this together. And I said, brilliant. And he says, I'll find out, I'll get hold of them. And I said, oh, that's great news. And I'm very pleased to say that the Minister opposite, just before this debate began, has actually agreed to meet with the all-party parliamentary group. So I do thank her for that. So I would like to just mention, if I may, our group and the work that we all did, and I can see members of the all-party group here right now, and some of the points that came up with. It was a really detailed piece of work. We listened to thousands of women, and Sir David chaired some of the events I chaired, and so did other members. And we were both very passionate about following up on our recommendations. And I think the point he made to me is, it must not be left to gather dust, Emma. And I said, no, it must not be left to gather dust. So we're going to push on with the recommendations from our report. So one of the things we talked about was highlighting the unacceptable delays in diagnosis, the need for research into diagnosis methods. One of the recommendation that government should commission research to discover the cause of the disease, because no one really understands why some women have this disease and some don't. There's no research on that. Better treatment and management options, and the dream for everyone, one day a cure. And increased awareness. It feels like we are becoming more aware of the condition, but I still find myself having conversations with people when they go, how do you say that? What is endometriosis? I've not heard of it before. So I think anything we can do to raise awareness and the understanding of the severity of it amongst health professionals, recognising it as a source of chronic disability and statutory support, looking at, we talked before about having a debate, and I think Sir David and I and other members of the committee wrote to the Minister in the DWP around personal independence payments and disability benefits and the difficulty women have accessing it for conditions like endometriosis. And the definition and the criteria around statutory sick pay, which doesn't recognise long-term conditions like endometriosis, and access to the appropriate care for everybody who needs it. I would like to mention the women that I met during my recent Big Conversation event, and I have to pay tribute to Mr. Phillips, who is an incredible consultant in this area, an expert in endometriosis, for all the work he does in my local area. And the women were coming back with the reports we've heard from all the women here, and that was, in fact, that this is a condition that takes 7.5 years to diagnose. It's not taken seriously. They're left in extreme pain for long periods of time. But I want to offer some hope to everybody about this, because I'm really pleased that Dr. Barbara Gwynn and Leah Coxey, who is a PhD student at the University of Hull, have just been given a very small amount, one could argue pitifully small amount, £10,000 of money to look into researching biomarkers for endometriosis, which would be revolutionary if this came through. If the idea you're able to give a urine sample and identify the biomarkers to find out whether you're likely to have the disease without the invasive medical procedures that people have to have right now. And my final specific ask for the government is with the Health and Social Care Bill. The Royal College for Obstetricians and Gynecologists is asking for to make mandatory in the new integrated care system to ensure the NHS organisations are responsible for conduct and resource clinical research. So if we could include in the new Health and Social Care Bill that mandatory looking at research into this condition. And as I say, I'm just very sorry that Sir David's not here to be with us, but we will continue to push for all of the recommendations and all of the points that he stood so proudly for in our all-party group. Thank you, Chair.
Doyle Price.